Hello my grandbabies, Don here, your pop culture 80-year-old grandpa.
Yo, smash!
The phrase/meme reheating nachos has been plastered all over social media sites like Twitter in response to mainly pop stars revisiting or recycling their past sounds within their new material, or pop star copying other pop stars' concepts. Now I could be wrong, as I am an 80-year-old man that is on the brink of dementia. The slang reheating nachos originated in 2023 from a baddies meme account that posted a clip of Natalie Nunn and Stunner Girl having a conversation while Stunner Girl ate what looks like diarrhea-prone nachos. The video captioned, "You can tell Natalie low-key wanted Stunner Girl's nachos." Thus, the reheating nachos meme was born. So we went from nacho cheese pun to now reheating nachos. Now I know you're probably wondering, well, what does that have to do with Nicki Minaj? Well, the rapper has been on my mind of late in reference to her presence and impact on music. We all know there is this conspiracy that the industry is actively plotting against her, trying to replace her, yada yada. And amidst these allegations, which I'll dive into in this video, I can't help but feel like said industry is guilty of reheating Nicki's nachos, and somewhat to perfection in recent times. So for this video, let's talk about how labels are reheating Nicki's nachos by default, along with the Nicki takedown conspiracies. And I'm gonna also talk about the downside of reheating Nicki's nachos. I am Don, your pop culture boy. Let's get into it. Catastrophic. In the musical landscape, we are currently witnessing an increase of women in the space of rap, known as the female rap renaissance. Nicki Minaj, Megan Thee Stallion, Cardi B, Latto, Sexy Red, Glorilla, Doja Cat, whether you like her or not, Ice Spice, and many more are getting seen and recognized just as much as the men are. And while the men are still dominating the genre, the female presence still manages to capture a large audience. Now, is the quality up to standards with all fans of rap within the women's sector? No. But the Renaissance is about a revolution and a new age of rampant artistic expression. So I'm not mad at the female rappers that are seen as inferior in the rap hierarchy, as the female rap renaissance is just getting started, as the industry keeps pumping out new female rappers. Now, for a very long time, female rap was struggling in terms of women getting co-signed, respect, or taken serious like they are today, which the respect can be better. Let's be honest, men get rewarded for rapping about killing and wars, while women are called demonic when they rap about sex. Back in the 80s, when rappers just started getting deals and taken serious by labels, rapper Roxanne Shante, who was 15 at the time, entered the MC Battle for World Supremacy, a competition to determine the best freestyle MC in 1985. According to Vice.com, at the end of the day, the two finalists were Roxanne and a more established rapper named Buzzy B. She rapped circles around him, but that didn't matter to Curtis Blow, who was already a rap legend and happened to be one of the judges. According to Roxanne, the other judges gave her high marks, but Blow gave her a low score so that she'd lose a match that she had obviously won. Years later, she confronted Curtis on the reason why he sabotaged her. According to Roxanne, he said it was because she was a girl. For the sake of hip-hop, there was no way that a 15-year-old girl could be the best. There was just no way that we could do that, Shante. In the 80s, other women that paved the way for future generations were MC Lyte, who was the first female rapper to release a full-length studio album, Salt and Pepper. They were one of the first successful female rap groups that managed to cross over into the pop space with songs such as the Push It song. Queen Latifah as well, who was all about women empowerment and self-respect. In her iconic song titled UNITY, she also had the iconic line, "Who you calling a bitch, nigga?" Now, she didn't say the N-word, and yes, I am black. Also, I cried like a little bitch when Queen Latifah got shot up and Set It Off, as my baby ass thought it was real. From the 90s to the early 2000s, the only successful women in rap were Lil' Kim, Foxy Brown, Lauryn Hill, Missy Elliott, Kaya, and Eve. While that list definitely sounds like a handful, it definitely needs further clarification. As I mentioned, female rap was seen as a struggling field when compared to the men. By 2005, Lil' Kim started to fall off commercially, and she also went to prison that same year for committing perjury. Lauryn Hill did not release another studio album after 1998's The Miseducation of Lauryn Hill. Foxy didn't release another album after 2001, and Foxy has a legendary career. She had successful albums, a different sound, but by the turn of the 2000s, her career simmered as well. Kaya was a one-hit wonder and wasn't cut out for the industry if you ask me. And Trina's rise was also short-lived. The only women that were consistent throughout the 2000s were Missy and maybe Eve. That was it. And then when it comes to Eve's last album came out in 2002, but then she kind of restructured her career and started being in movies, so maybe that kind of kept her relevant. So honestly, maybe it was just Missy Elliott who was the only one throughout the 2000s who was just consistent until the rise of Nicki Minaj in 2009. And while yes, Nicki was already making waves as an upcoming MC since 2007, it was in 2009 the world got introduced to the then upcomer who would eventually become the standard. Now, if you were alive during Nicki's breakthrough from 2009 to 2010, simply saying that her rise was impactful is a bit of an understatement. It was astronomical, as there was no other female that was competing with the men, and she did not only outshine a lot of the men, but was also in high demand, resulting in a colossal number of features. The male audience wasn't very accepting of female rappers until Nicki Minaj, who got cosigns from the greats such as Jay-Z, Rick Ross, Kanye Shweshnashni, Eminem, and of course, Lil Wayne. As she continued captivating music listeners with her theatrical cadence, insane wordplay, double entendres, Barbie-esque flow that's not afraid to get nasty, and Barbie-like persona, Nicki Minaj gave a lot of us and the industry hope that maybe female rap was a worthy investment, as she was not only highly skilled but bankable. But there was one gigantic problem. She was the only one. And if there is one thing businesses like doing, which in this case is the music business, is to duplicate on an already existing idea, i.e. creating multiples of one thing to maximize profit. Nicki Minaj had the blueprint, and while she did sign over her masters, which is standard, she did not sign a 360 deal. So this tells me she knew she had leverage when she signed her first major deal. Now, before we get into how the industry is reheating Nicki's Nachos and kind of doing it to perfection, quite frankly, let's explore the notion that the industry doesn't fuck with her. A notion that is pushed by both Nicki and her Barbs, which I get accused of being every now and then, which contradicts the Barbs that claims I'm anti-Nicki. I have a question. Are you a Nicki fan?
Pull up in the Sri Lanka. What? Y'all want what?
Anyway, I have never been inclined to agree that the industry is against Nicki Minaj and wants to get rid of her. I've always looked at it like she has a good thing going on, so naturally other labels will want their own Nicki Minaj in their corner. The whole she's being sabotaged rhetoric, I just never agreed with it. But for this video, I will rewire my brain and be open-minded. There are a few instances that made the internet go on multiple side quests, uncovering the industry's devious plans against the generous queen, the Grammys. I think we can all agree that Nicki's beef with the Grammys is the main reason for the Nicki getting punished / blackballed by the industry comments. Or that's how it started, leading to both Nicki and her fans criticizing the Recording Academy for overlooking her work. Seeing to this day, Nicki is yet to receive a Grammy, despite being the top female rapper. Instead, the Recording Academy has awarded other female rappers such as Cardi B, Doja Cat, and recently newcomer Doechii, who is not really new, but you know what I mean, which has only further rumors cementing that the beef between Nicki and the Grammys is real. Now, this is how it all started. 2012, the bees were buzzing, the birds were chirping, the Grammys were underway, 39 million people tuned in, the second most watched Grammys in history. Nicki, who was nominated for Best New Artist and an anticipated performer that night, had already done promo for the awards. Moments before her set, she got a tap on her shoulder from Grammy officials telling her she could no longer perform, with the reason stemming from Whitney's death, which occurred the day prior. Definitely an unfortunate situation, but this didn't make sense to Nicki Minaj, as they'd made her do a bunch of commercials with LL Cool J moments ago to promote the show. After I did everything they asked me to not perform. I said, no, I'm going to perform, said Nicki Minaj on her Queen Radio in 2019. To make a long story short, Nicki performed that night, a medley of Roman's Revenge and Roman Holiday, against the organization's wishes. The performance, which included religious imagery, was later criticized by the Catholic Church. And because Nicki refused to back out of the show, she claimed it prompted now former Grammy executive producer Ken Ehrlich to blackball her. Nicki Minaj calling out Ken coincided with the drama surrounding Ken and Ariana Grande. Ariana Grande accused Ken of lying about the reason she didn't perform at the Grammys in 2019. Ken told the Associated Press that Ari would not be performing at the ceremony due to her inability to put together a performance in time for the show, when in fact, Ariana didn't perform because she wasn't allowed to choose the song she wanted. Apparently, Ariana Grande wanted to perform Seven Rings, which was her most recent release at the time, but the Grammys wanted her to do a medley instead, causing her to pull out as she felt creatively stifled. So it's almost as if they were like, you wanna come up off of the Grammy, huh? Interestingly enough, Ken has also beefed with Lorde and Frank Ocean during Grammy season as well. Since Nicki Minaj's rise in the late 2000s, the industry has been trying to recreate her impact within other female acts, but failed miserably. But all that changed in 2017 with the emergence of Cardi B, who, just like Nicki, had a stellar commercial debut. Starting with Cardi B's debut single under a major label, Atlantic, Bodak Yellow. More on Atlantic in a bit. Bodak Yellow peaked #1 on the Hot 100. Furthermore, Cardi B's debut studio album, Invasion of Privacy, was also a success, debuting #1 on the US Billboard 200 chart, selling 255,000 album equivalent units in its first week. Like Nicki, Cardi B became the it female rapper who was highly sought after for features, and Cardi B was also able to easily translate in the pop realm as well. She debuted at a time when Nicki was caught slipping, as a few months prior, Nicki and Remy Ma engaged in a rap beef, where the queen was dismantled by her opponent Remy Ma on a 6 minutes diss track titled Sheether. And while Nicki did respond to Remy with No Frauds featuring Drake and Lil Wayne, many rap fans were unimpressed, as it was a weak response, plus she had to recruit 2 men to tag along. Meanwhile, Remy's Sheether was a solo effort, and that definitely hit her hard.
Now, 2 months later, you are releasing the No Frauds video with Wayne and Drake. Bad move. Somebody dropped the ball.
Many believe that Cardi B was designed to strictly take down Nicki Minaj, and with multiple back and forths between the two, including Cardi trying to beat Nicki's ass but ended up looking like a hoodwooker getting kicked out of the event, and Nicki accusing Atlantic Records of conspiring against her, only seemed to validate those claims. In addition to that, there has been many rumors of Atlantic offering deals to other female rapper to diss Nicki Minaj. British rapper Lady LaShore told the BBC 3 that she was offered $250K to diss Nicki.
Lish, is it actually true that you got offered $250K to write a diss track for Nicki and you turned it down?
Yeah, it is, yeah.
What?
Are you only hearing about this now?
I remember hearing about it at the time, but I've never had a chance to actually speak to you about it.
Oh yeah, no, literally, yeah. Genuinely, that's what happened. And that just came from me doing a cover of Look At Me Now, you know, Busta Rhymes. It went on World Star, and then like Atlantic Records was trying to reach out. Fast forward, I'm sitting down in front of this guy with my manager at the time, and he's just like, yeah, we basically want you to do a diss track to Nicki Minaj. This is after I played him my whole like EP or whatever I've got coming out. And it's like he didn't really care about it. And I just knew something wasn't right. And I went away, I'm not gonna lie, I went back on the flight home, I was bawling, because I'm thinking, yo, this might be my only opportunity to get my mum a house. But yeah, I'm glad I didn't, because fast forward, then Nicki invited me to her tour. And yeah, man, so you always have to go with your gut instinct, man, and
you
integrity.
still got Mumsy a house as well.
This is what I'm trying to say. It took a bit long.
Come on.
Now, I know how the internet get with these types of situations. Someone comes forth, says this happened to me, and people see that as fact. But my response to this is, well, she didn't show us any receipts. I wasn't there, so for me, her word is just her word. But I will take it with a grain of salt, as she is not the only rapper to say this. And to be fair, there was a time when rappers were saying Nicki tried stopping their bags. Azealia Banks, who have dissed Nicki on many occasions, also accused the labels of offering deals to rappers, with an agreement to diss Nicki as well. Craig Kallman offered Cupcake $250K to go against Nicki Minaj. She declined, and word got out. So in revenge, Kallman went and found Lizzo to taunt Cupcake on the main stage. None of Lizzo's success is her own. Craig made sure to push and oversaturate the public with Lizzo to teach Cupcake a lesson about rejecting him. Lizzo doesn't belong here. Neither does Cardi B. They were both engineered by a white male, Kallman, out of spite for talented black women not wanting to work with them. All the Kallman concubines have to go, said Azealia on her IG story in 2019. Now, back to the Grammys. At the 2019 Grammys, Cardi B won in the category of Best Rap Album for her album Invasion of Privacy. While Cardi naturally got praise for her win, out of nowhere came a diss from BET directed towards Nicki Minaj. While uplifting Cardi B, BET reposted a news item on the victory along with the Nicki diss. Meanwhile, Nicki Minaj is being dragged by her lace front, which was not only nasty work, but extremely unprofessional. Nicki and the Grammys beefed again in 2022 after her track Super Freaky Girl was removed from the original submitted rap category to pop. The rapper responds to the change saying, "I have no problem being moved out the rap category, as long as we are all being treated fairly. If Super Freaky Girl has to be moved out rap, then so does Big Energy," she added, referring to the Lotto hit of the same name. "Anyone who says diff is simply a Nicki hater or a troll," said the rapper in a tweet. According to Variety, later on the rapper continued on her Instagram in a 17 minutes long video, which has been deleted. In the video, Nicki said, "Now, what do you think is going to happen when they start voting on these pop categories? And it's a bunch of people, white or whatever they're from, or older, and they have to decide between Nicki Minaj and Harry Styles, or Nicki Minaj and Adele. That's purposefully designed so Nicki is not in the rap category that we don't want any competition in. Put her in there, in pop, so she has more competition and less of a chance to win. They move the goalpost when it comes to me because in order for them to uplift the other people who they want to shine, the people who these corporate giants can make the money off of, the people who control a lot of things behind the scenes, they have to elevate someone that they profit off. There is an agenda because I am not signed to a 360, and for years there was a certain label that had to pay me nonstop for their features. So far, Nicki Minaj has been the only female rapper to stand the test of time. Even with her predecessors, they all have a shelf life that was perceived ahead of its time. They all sold/stayed relevant up to a certain point before fading into the background, which nothing is wrong with, as many of them are still active, but they lost that relevance that keeps one's name alive in current affairs. But not Nicki. She defies that logic of phasing out, and I think that is a testament to her determination and iron resilience, in spite of the hurdles she faces as a woman in the industry. As I said, this is unprecedented time for the music industry, and their response is to replicate her success, and this is a part of a larger system that believes it's best to screw over the artist before the artist screws them. The industry is reheating Nicki's Nachos, and they've been doing this with all of these female rappers, and with each iteration we see, Nicki's Nachos are being reheated closer and closer to perfection. During the 80s and early 90s, the female rapper aesthetic was hard and gangster, almost as if they were competing with the men on who could be the toughest. In my opinion, the industry did not respect the female presence. Male rappers were calling women bitch hoes, and the women were like, "Who you calling a bitch?" While rappers like Queen Latifah Khalifa and MC Lyte were respected by more mature audiences, they weren't cool enough for the younger demographics. Now by the mid-90s, with the entry of Lil' Kim and Foxy Brown, we started to see the image of the female rapper become less militant/political, in favor of luxury brands and more revealing. Their overall lyrics and personas became more provocative, more shock value. After Kim and Foxy faded into the background, the field was left to Eve, Trina, and Missy in the 2000s. However, by 2002, Eve's career came to a halt, and for Trina, by the issue of her third studio album in 2005, her sales started to lag. And while she did had a somewhat resurgence in 2008 with her single Again, by then it was kind of evident that it was kind of over for Trina. On the other hand, Missy Elliott was very resilient, which led to her success. She started in the late 90s, but by 2005, after releasing her sixth studio album, The Cookbook, slowly left the industry due to being diagnosed with Graves' disease. Now, after Missy, female rap was done. It was seen as a joke and not profitable. But alas, in 2009, Nicki had her commercial debut that gave industry execs hope for the genre. Now, I don't think it's a conspiracy to say that the industry has modeled its female rappers after Nicki Minaj. Nicki's influence in the industry is pretty undeniable, validating her Nachos being reheated theory. And it makes sense, as Nicki's success has taught labels what they need to do in order to prolong the female rapper type. To stay successful and relevant for as long as Nicki has, she relied heavily on theatrics, the colorful wigs, the different personas, and having a deep connection/parasocial relationship with her audience, something rappers prior weren't able to achieve prior the digital age. In the 10s, we saw the rise but quick fall of Dej Loaf, Iggy Azalea, and Young M.A. due to the fact that they weren't personable or connected with or sustained a wide audience. A new standard set by Nicki Minaj, who effectively capitalized on her fandom online. Nicki also had a strong brand that was attached to a color, the color pink. Pink was incorporated into her looks and her album's aesthetic, from her debut album Pink Friday leading up to her latest Pink Friday 2, creating familiarity. So whenever you see the color pink, Nicki automatically comes to mind. Nicki also taught labels you had to coexist within other genres, and it's a proven method since she did this successfully, with each album shifting in and out of hip-hop and catering to pop stans. Label's first successful attempt at reheating Nicki's Nachos was the investment Cardi B. We saw Cardi B right out the gate getting a #1 record and being recruited for high-profile features, from G-Eazy's No Limit remix, Bad Bunny's I Like It, and Bruno Mars' Finesse, maneuvering multiple spaces in music. Now, I know you might say Cardi didn't reheat Nicki's Nachos successfully, but the fact that she acquired so much success with one album thus far, I think with Cardi B, they definitely perfected Nicki's Nachos. Now, is Cardi B a carbon copy of Nicki Minaj? No. But the business, that is what was copied, not Nicki's artistry. Now, on the other hand, with other artists, Doja Cat and Doji, their labels are definitely reheating Nicki's Nachos in all aspects, from the artistry to the business side. The cadence, the flow, the theatrics, it's all from Nicki. Now, is there uniqueness? Absolutely, but to their cores, it's Nicki Minaj coded. And as I said, it makes sense because except for Nicki, all iterations of the female rapper have failed, or if not failed per se, wasn't as profitable like her. Side note, I must admit that Doja Cat and Doji possess an ability that Nicki is yet to master, which is singing. All of that being said, this is not sustainable in the long run because no one should be trying to be the next Nicki Minaj, which is what these labels are trying to do in my opinion. And we already seen the negative effects of reheating Nicki's Nachos, especially on the artistic side. Case in point, Doja Cat. After the commercial failure of Doja Cat's debut album Amala, which explores more of a lo-fi R&B hip-hop fusion, which is more true to her, Nonetheless, the album flopped, forcing her label to enter crisis mode, hence going ultra pop with her second and third album, Hot Pink and Planet Her. With the inclusion of Nicki Minaj coded tracks Say So and Need to Know, reheating Nicki's Nachos to a T, which brought in big reward. But as I said, it wasn't sustainable as this new sound was not true to Doja, hence her going rogue, drastically departing from her rap pop traditional feminine image to a more edgy dark aesthetic, far removed from the ingenuous aesthetic and sound of Hot Pink and Planet Her. Now when it comes to Doji, they are definitely reheating Nicki's Nachos as well. The influence is there, and this is not a dig at Doji. I love Doji, but I fear her label will continue to push her down this Nicki route because Doji seems effortlessly similar to Nicki as well. And for the fact that her label has to. Now, I think what will set her apart from Nicki is that she'll be able to explore and go even deeper into this world of theater more than Nicki was able to explore. And I feel like she'll get what Nicki should have gotten. Hell, she's already won a Grammy. Look at it like this. It's like you dig a hole, left it, then someone else shows up to continue the digging. They won't work as hard, but will get to dig deeper. And that's kind of the circle of life when you think about it. The offspring always continues the work, and I think that's how it should be. It's no different from Nicki Minaj and Lil' Kim. Lil' Kim started something and Nicki Minaj kind of finished it. And the cycle continues. There is a reason for all of this. A lot of this stems from a lack of creativity and marketability. What's palatable and what's not for the general public. I know it's easy to demonize artists for copying blah blah, and that's not my intention of this video, as these artists are not to blame. A lot of people will say, oh, I hate Nicki Minaj, she's not a nice person, she stepped on so many toes. And while I don't put it past her that yes, she probably got a lot of powerful people upset, I'm also sure people tried and even successfully stepped on her toes as well. I think a lot of us lack perspectives on her situation, being the only female presence for so long in a male-dominated industry who hasn't signed a 360. I can only imagine that a lot of people wanted to humble her and yes, teach her a lesson. Do I know everything that happens? No. But I know for a fact that females like her go through a lot. I don't doubt a lot of those disrespectful things they said she did was done to protect herself. And if that was the case, I can't blame her. Nicki Minaj is a hip-hop pioneer. The fact that the industry is reading off her transcript for success is proof of that. And that's what this video is about. What do you think? This video's pop culture question comes from Oh It's Vanny. They said, pop culture, do you think it's possible to truly separate the art from the artist? Yes. If the music is good and resonate with you on like a deep level, maybe it impacted your childhood. In cases like those, it will be very hard to not listen anymore, say if the artist did something very bad. But this is also like a personal thing as well. I don't challenge people who are like, you know, once the artist is bad, then the music is blacklisted as well. But yeah, you can definitely separate the art from the artist. And I don't really see anything wrong with that take, or anyone who believes that. Yeah, thank you for that pop culture question, I appreciate it. If you want me to read your pop culture question, comment pop culture question, followed by your question. 1 or 2 sentences, please. Please, please, please. I'm Donnie Pop Culture Boy, and I will see you in the next one.